Alright, so in today's video we're going to go over the top 5 defenders. And before we get to number 1, we will do some honorable mentions as well. So in the defender class there are many good defenders. So in order to narrow down the criteria, let's set the stage for what makes a good defender. First off, they have to be good at securing the treasure, increasing the treasure gauge recovery, having knockback effects, and reducing damage. Alright, so with that being said, we're going to focus on characters that have these traits, special skills, and abilities. Alright, let's start off with number 5. Okay, so number 5 is Frankie. So Frankie has a trait that when in the air around your captured treasure, reduce damage received by 30%. That's very good. Taking less damage is always good. And when your strength is more than 80%, change a knockback effect to a down effect. So this means that when he's in the treasure area and the opponent is trying to send you outside of it, you will not be affected as long as his health is above 80%. And also increase damage dealt when 60 seconds left. So more damage means more enemies defeated and better chance of guarding the treasure. And when a character from your team is KO'd, boost defense by 20%. That part's very good. And his skill 1, a mid-range area attack with a knockback effect and nullifies stagger for a set period of time. It acquires defense debuff effect at level 5. This is very good, because knockback effects is what defenders are supposed to specialize in. And his second skill, Frankie Radical Beam, a long range attack with a knockback effect. The higher HP is, the more damage it will deal. The only thing about this move is that most likely you would have to be locked onto your opponent to use it, because it's easy to avoid. And number 4, Nightmare Luffy. This character is very good in both damage and defense. When in the air around your captured treasure, increase damage dealt by 30%. That's very good. And when your character from your team is KO'd, boost defense by 20%, which lasts for 10 seconds. So this is very good. This means that he will not only be dealing damage, but he will also be reducing the damage taken. And if you equip him with defense medals and high HP medals, you will be lasting for a long time. And trait 2, when a character from your team is KO'd, boost an attack by an additional 30%. Very good. And when your strength is more than 70%, increase the treasure gauge recovery amount. Very good. A defender naturally recovers the treasure gauge faster, but you're also increasing the amount of recovery the treasure gauge does. This is amazing. And it's skill 1. It's a mid-range charge attack. This doesn't really have no knockback effect, but the attack stat is very high, so meaning it can one-shot enemies and get them out of your treasure area. This move is decent, I'm saying. Nothing too good, but nothing too bad either. Cooldown of 48 seconds. That's a little bit on the bad side, because you want the defenders to have a quick cooldown with these skills. And skill 2, Gum Gum Storm. He has a long range multiple area attack with a knockback effect. This is very good, and the lower your HP is, the more damage it will deal. And he also nullifies stagger for a set period of time. And this move has a cooldown of 20 seconds, meaning it's very spammable, because that's very good for a cooldown time. 20 seconds, and he's a defender. Very nice. And he also do gain some distance when he used this move. And number 3, Sabo. When in the air around your captured treasure, reduce damage received by 30%. Very good. And when there are 60 seconds or less remaining, boost the cooldown reduction speed of skill 1 by 100%. And he also gained a speed boost when dodging. Boost speed by 10%. So these traits of Sabo's, they don't really seem that great, but his skill 1 is what makes him really amazing. It's a mid-range area attack with a knockback effect and become temporarily invincible after use. The cooldown time is 62 seconds, which isn't good, but if his trait activate, it will go from 62 seconds to 31 seconds, which is very good. Invincible skills is always good. And his skill 2, Dragon Claw, a mid-range attack that nullifies stagger for a set period of time. 34 seconds. It's decent. Then number 2, Moria. Moria is like, he has the best character traits in this game. When a character from your team is KO'd, recover HP by 15%. Excellent, because you know your teammates, they die a lot. Everybody's teammates be dying a lot out here, especially when they're, I think, at point C. The death toll is just crazy. And when a character from your team is KO'd, boost defense by 20%. Extremely good. And when in the air, run and capture treasure, increase damage dealt by 30%. And when your team has less treasure secured, reduce damage received by 30%. Like, bruh, this is amazing. And when there are 60 seconds or less remaining, increase damage dealt by 20%. And when a character from your team is killed, reduce the cooldown time of skill 2 by 15%. Overall, Moria is just a tank monster. So this is debatable if Moria is number 2 or number 1. Because this is what I'm stumbling on. Because he's just extremely good as a defender. Extremely. And then his skill 1. A long range attack with a knockback effect, Doppelman. Skill attack is 913. And a cooldown is 44 seconds. Reasonable, I'm saying. Skill attack is very powerful. Then his skill 2, Brickbat. A long range multiple area attack. The higher this character's remaining HP is, the more damage it deals. And nullifies target for a set period of time. Acquires attack debuff effect at level 5. Like, this just does a crazy amount of stuff. Honorable mention 1, Stampede Smoker. Smoker is just really good. When in the air around your captured treasure, reduce damage received by 30%, and when your strength is more than 80%, resistant staggering effect. And when your allies are not near the treasure area where you're at, boost the cooldown reduction speed of skill 2 by 50%. This is good because sometimes as a defender, you're left alone to guard a treasure. And Stampede Smoker, his skill has very low cooldown times. Skill 1, a mid-range attack with a knockback effect. His skill attack does around like 800 damage, and the cooldown is 31 seconds. That's good. And skill 2, a mid-range stun attack, and it attacks your opponents towards you and nullifies stagger for a set period of time. It has a speed debuff and a stun effect. Honorable mention number 2, Aokiji. When receiving damage from an enemy, 10% chance to reduce the damage received by 30%. Good, and you nullify freeze. And when in the air on your captured treasure, reduce damage received by 30%. And when there are 120 seconds or more remaining, increase treasure gauge recovery amount. So this part, that's not great, because 60 seconds in the match goes just like that, bang. And when using skill 1, boost defense by 30%, which lasts for 20 seconds. So overall, this part is very good. Alright, skill 1, Ice Age, a mid-range air attack with a chance to freeze. So the freeze probability is 50% and the cooldown time for the skill is 44 seconds. This is very good coupled with a defense increase. And Ice Time Capsule is skill 2. Freeze lasts for long and the probability is 100%, have a cooldown time of 24 seconds. Very good. And by the way, these characters, even though they're honorable mentions, they're within the top 10 defenders in the game. Top 7, top 8, you know what I'm saying? They're all really good. All these positions can be changed around because of how close these defenders are to another. Honorable mention number 3, Trafalgar Law, 1.0 version. Oh man, this Law on paper is a really good defender, but when you play him in combat, he's just extremely hard to use. When they run or capture treasure, reduce damage received by 30%, that's really good. And when your strength is less than 30%, boost attack by 30%. This lasts for 20 seconds. Those are very good. And when you kill an opponent, recover HP by 15%. And when using skill 1, boost defense by 20%. 10 seconds. Excellent. And then skill 1, Room, a mid-range that temporarily applies defense and speed debuffs. Defense and speed debuff is 30% each. Skill 2, Gamma Knife. He has a chance to stun and moves towards the enemy. The stun lasts for a long time, and the effect of the stun is 100%. Cooldown of 48 seconds. That's pretty good. It's just that Law himself, he's just a really difficult character to use. I tried to record some gameplay of him a few days ago, but man, it wasn't going so well, so I just scratched that. But he's good on paper though, just not good in combat. And number 1 goes to Big Mom. When your strength is more than 90%, reduce damage received by 80%. And when dealing damage to an enemy inflicted with shock, increase damage dealt by 20%. So Big Momma is both a damage and a defending unit. And when you kill an opponent, recover HP by 15%. And skill 1. The Lightning of Clouds of Zeus, an attack that inflicts damage in the area behind you with a chance to shock enemies. The shock probability is 100% and it lasts for 3 seconds. And the Sun itself, Prometheus, skill 2. It has a knockback effect and the flame probability is 100%, lasts for 10 seconds, and the cooldown time is 51 seconds.